Have you ever really stopped to think about what it takes to see? I mean, it feels so simple, right? You just open your eyes. But behind every single glance, there's this entire world of invisible chemistry at play, a super delicate, high-stakes ballet of molecules. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the absolutely incredible biochemistry that makes our sight even possible.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Your eye is right out there, exposed to everything: dust, wind, germs. It's living tissue. It needs nutrients. But at the same time, it has to stay perfectly transparent. So how on earth does this remarkable little organ not only survive, but actually thrive in such a vulnerable spot? Well, the answer, surprisingly, starts on its very, very surface.
And that answer is the tear film. Now, you might think it's just salty water, but it's so much more than that. It's only a few microns thick. We're talking thinner than a strand of silk. But this isn't just water. No, it's an incredibly sophisticated, multi-layered coating that acts as the eye's first and most critical line of defense. These three layers work together like a piece of high-tech laminated armor. So on the very outside, you've got the lipid layer. It's basically a super thin oil slick that seals in all the moisture. Then you've got the middle aqueous layer. That's the watery workhorse delivering oxygen and germ-fighting proteins. And finally, stuck right onto the eye is the inner mucin layer. It acts like a molecular glue, making the whole film stick perfectly to the cornea. They're all different, but they have to work in perfect harmony. And this is exactly what happens when that harmony gets thrown off. In a healthy eye, everything is perfectly balanced. But in something like dry eye disease, that balance is gone. The tears evaporate way too fast, leaving behind a higher concentration of salt. That's what hyperosmolar means. It's just too salty. This, in turn, triggers inflammation and can even start to damage the cornea's surface. It's a perfect example of how critical this invisible chemistry really is. Okay, so let's travel a little deeper into the eye now. We're going past the tear film, past the cornea, and we're heading to another marvel of biological engineering: the lens. Its one and only job is to focus light with perfect clarity. And the chemistry that allows it to do that, well, it's just astounding. Now, this is the core challenge for the lens. It's avascular, which is just a fancy way of saying it has no blood vessels, because, they'd block the light. But this means the cells and proteins you're born with have to last for your entire life. There's no repair crew coming in, no replacement parts. The proteins made when you were a baby have to stay perfectly functional for 80, 90, maybe even 100 years. So how in the world does a lens pull this off? The secret is a special family of proteins called crystallins. And these are not your average proteins. They are specifically designed for one thing: transparency. They make up more than 90% of the lens and are packed together in this incredibly dense, perfectly orderly way that lets light just shoot right through without scattering. We can think of them as having two main jobs, kind of like a construction crew. First, you've got the alpha crystallins. They act like molecular chaperones, or maybe bodyguards. Their job is to rush in and protect other proteins from getting damaged and clumping up. Then you have the beta and gamma crystallins. These are your structural architects. They form the precise, crystal-clear framework of the lens itself. You absolutely need both, the protectors and the builders, for it all to work. And this is precisely what happens when that system starts to fail. Over many years, things like age and UV light start to damage the crystallins. The chaperone proteins, the alphas, they just get overwhelmed. And the structural proteins begin to misfold and clump together. This clumping scatters light instead of focusing it. And that cloudiness, that loss of transparency, well, that's what we all know as a cataract. Now, this damage to the crystallins isn't just some random stroke of bad luck. The eye is under a constant, invisible chemical assault every single day of our lives. And this attack is a fundamental process that affects not just the lens, but every single part of the eye. This attack has a name: oxidative stress. The best way to think about it is like a battle. On one side, you have these highly reactive, damaging little molecules called reactive oxygen species, or ROS for short. On the other side, you have the eye's own antioxidant defense systems. Oxidative stress is what happens when the attackers, the ROS, start to outnumber and overwhelm the defenders. And where do these attackers come from? Well, pretty much everywhere. The very light that allows us to see actually generates ROS. The normal process of our cells just making energy creates them as a byproduct. Then you can add in things like inflammation, smoking, pollution, and you've got a relentless, nonstop source of these damaging molecules. And the damage this causes is widespread. As we just saw, in the lens, it leads to cataracts.
In that jelly-like stuff that fills the eye, the vitreous, it causes those annoying floaters. In the retina, it's a major contributor to huge diseases like macular degeneration. It can even damage the eye's microscopic drainage system, which can lead to a dangerous rise in eye pressure. It's a real problem.
But our eyes aren't helpless, not at all. They have evolved this powerful, sophisticated defense system to fight back against this constant oxidative attack and maintain that delicate chemical balance we need to see. So who is the #1 player on this defense team? Well, especially in the lens, it's a molecule called glutathione. It's the most abundant antioxidant in the lens for a very good reason. It is incredibly effective at neutralizing those dangerous ROS molecules, acting like the master protector for all our precious crystalline proteins. But glutathione doesn't work alone. It leads a whole supporting cast. You've got specialized enzymes on constant patrol. You have essential vitamins like C and E that we get from our diet. And get this, the lens even has its own built-in sunglasses. Special compounds that absorb harmful UV rays before they can ever cause any trouble. How cool is that? Okay, so we've journeyed from the tear film on the surface all the way into the proteins in the lens, and we've looked at the chemical battle raging inside. Let's tie it all together and really understand why this invisible chemistry is so unbelievably important. So, if there is one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. Clear vision is not a static thing. It's an active, continuous process. It's this delicate chemical ballet that requires a stable tear film on the outside, perfectly orderly proteins on the inside, and a super robust antioxidant shield protecting it all. The moment any part of this ballet falters, our vision suffers. And this leaves us with a really fascinating final thought. For centuries, our approach has been to fix the eye after it's been damaged, like removing a cataract. But as we get better and better at understanding this intricate chemistry, could we shift from repair to prevention? Could we develop therapies that actually boost our natural defenses, keeping our vision clearer for longer? Now that is the incredible promise hidden within the invisible chemistry of sight.